Here's something your credit card company doesn't want you to know. Annual fees are not set in stone, and more than 80% of people who ask their card company for relief get it. This is according to a new survey, and here with the story is WSJ reporter AnnaMaria Andriotis. AnnaMaria, thank you so much for being with us.
Great to be here.
So I'm guessing the credit card companies don't want to say any of this publicly because they don't want a big wave of people asking for their fees to disappear. So how did you get this information?
That's right. So we received the findings from the survey, and I just started contacting the large credit card issuers that have cards with annual fees on them, just asking them, is this for real? Do you actually do this? And to my surprise, several of them said that, well, yes, this is kind of the hidden secret in the industry, that if you call and you ask for a break on your annual fees, chances are we're going to give it to you.
A break, maybe not completely getting rid of it.
Right. So basically a mixture between waiving the fees, reducing the fees, and in some cases doing things like, okay, if you spend a certain amount of dollars on the card within the next month, we'll then waive the annual fee.
Okay.
Right.
But this is by no means across the industry. There were some credit card companies you spoke to that said, no, absolutely not. Under no circumstances do we get rid of it.
Correct. So this really varied. But what's interesting, though, is that each card issuer seems to approach this in kind of a different way.
Yeah.
So while I can't really reveal who said what, because these conversations pretty much happened in that forum.
It's worth a try,
right? Exactly. What it means is that consumers should be considering looking at these fees and saying, well, are they really set in stone? Let me call my card issuer and see what I can get.
What's the typical profile, though, of the consumer who is more likely to get the fees waived?
Okay, so first of all, paying on time. People who don't pay on time really don't have much leeway to do anything with their credit card issuer. And then it really depends on some card issuers said the more you spend on the card, but others said that wasn't so much the case.
It was just paying on time.
Really, the thing across the board was as long as you're a good borrower and you're paying on time, you probably will have some flexibility.
Right. And are there any little tricks to getting your fees erased that you uncovered?
So one interesting thing that a couple issuers mentioned was that some consumers will call and say, well, if you don't waive the annual fee, I'm just not going to be using this card anymore and I'll be using other credit cards. Some have threatened to shut down the credit card entirely. And surprisingly, that works with some lenders. And it kind of speaks overall to sort of the broader credit card market now.
Well, let's talk about that, because this does seem to be the golden era for consumers when it comes to credit cards. Is this just due to increased competition?
A lot of this is. I mean, annual fees have been around for a while, but it seems like they, along with other terms, are increasingly becoming negotiable because ultimately most big banks are vying for more market share.
Mm-hmm. So they're offering all kinds of things like matching rewards, points.
Right.
Still, you have to look at the fees that some cards charge, and they are quite high. Yes. So if you are going to pay those fees, you have to be sure you're going to get back those benefits.
Right. So what we're talking about now is these high rewards, high cost cards where you're paying $450, even more in annual fees a year. So again, while I can't really reveal who said what, people who are at any credit card you're considering signing up for, if it has an annual fee, be prepared to pay it.
Right.
And ultimately, what we're talking about here is you might be able to negotiate your way to getting it reduced or waived, but if you're choosing a card with an annual fee, it has an annual fee. There's many other cards out there that don't charge those fees.
And it's worth mentioning there's another perk that's being offered to consumers quite widely right now that they might not be aware of, and that's helpful, correct?
So very helpful, and many lenders are doing it. It's increasing your credit limit. So for example, you have a $5,000 spending limit on a card, call up your credit card issuer and ask them if they'll increase it. And you'll find that to be really helpful because
if you're buying a car or a home.
Sure, because ultimately it could help boost your credit score a bit, assuming you're not borrowing more on that card as a result.
Worth knowing. AnnaMaria, thank you so much for that.
Thank you.